Hello, everybody. Today we have with us Dr. Parag Patel. Dr. Parag Patel is the Associate Dean of Undergraduate Programs at Amrut Mody School of Management of Ahmedabad University, located in Ahmedabad. Welcome to the Collegedunia portal, sir.
Thank you very much, Em. Thank you for having me.
So, starting with the interview, my first question to you would be what is your philosophy on leadership and how would you like to describe your leadership style?
Educational leadership is very different from leadership in other organizations because you have, three, four groups that you lead. Obviously, first is the group of students, then you have a group of faculty members, and then you have a group of other stakeholders because we work with companies and they also look up to you as leaders. So with all the groups, there are separate things that need to be considered. So students generally look for inspiration, promptness, consistency, transparency, truthfulness. So in all my interactions with them, whether it is verbal, non-verbal, I always try to maintain transparency. I remain truthful. You always share timely opportunities. You maintain your word. If you say something, you got to do it. Students have, life is very gray at this age. When students are in the undergraduate program, there are many gray areas. So sometimes they're looking for black and white. So when they ask questions, it's good to be clear about it and not go around. So that's what I do, and by and large, the feedback is good. When it comes to faculty members, we have to be enablers because Ahmedabad University is a research university, while it focuses very seriously on good teaching. So both teaching and research are equally important. And therefore, there are times when you have to enable faculty members in their research pursuits as well as in doing well with teaching activity. When it comes to stakeholders, again, we work very closely with many companies and industries and practitioners because we believe in experiential learning, and at multiple levels we work closely with industry. So whether it could be sitting on various bodies like GCCI and FICCI on their serving on their committees. We have several live projects in the form of root camp and capstone projects where we work closely with industry. And these are long term. Some of them are like 6 months to 18 months in duration. There are many companies who come and recruit, and when good companies come, they want to talk to the leadership. So there also we maintain transparency, truthfulness. We stick to we try and ensure that whatever we say, we actually do and do as mentioned, or even better than what we promise. Philosophy also has been to promise less and deliver more, and that applies across the spectrum, whether it is students or faculty members or the other stakeholders that we deal with. So all in all, I think honesty and integrity is the crux of my leadership style.
Right. Thank you for such a lovely response, sir. Coming to the next question, I'd like to ask that you've held several key positions throughout your professional career in education sector. So what are the key factors that keep you connected to the education sector?
Right from my early days, I have... I belong to a family of academicians. So both my parent and parents-in-law were into education. And I saw them living a good life and creating a lot of value in lives of many people through education. So I always looked at it as a noble profession. And then there was a passion to teach, passion to coach, passion to mentor. And that's how I warmed up to education as a sector very early in my life. When I was doing my master's degree, I was also teaching at a school. And right from those days, the feedback and the satisfaction, the content of doing or engaging in any activity was quite high. And that's how I kind of aligned my activities with my long-term career plan and went on to do an MPhil and then a PhD. And nothing was planned, but good roles came by. So, in the same institution, because the institution is very aspirational and it keeps evolving very fast. So I had got a chance to get into many good roles, interesting roles and responsibilities over the last 21 years.
Perfect. Moving ahead, I'd like to ask that the education systems in India and other foreign countries are structured very differently. So, in your experience, what can be an inbound student gain from the students studying here at the university?
Um, See, Ahmedabad University is a university established in 21st century. So yes, in large large universities with affiliate structure, there are many pros and cons, and there are lots of difference between the way they are organized and the way other universities in the developed world are. But Ahmedabad University is new, is young, and has no baggage. So right from our inception in 2009, we had this in mind, and we have created a system where student is put in the center. Probably you can say that we are a student with highest student centricity in all that we do. If you look at our curriculum structure, if you look at our undergraduate program, if you look at the flexibility and choices to the students, it is on par or even a little bit ahead in some ways compared to any other university in the US or the UK or Australia or Singapore, and basically in the developed world. Students have a choice to learn at their own pace. Students have a choice to choose what they want to learn and when they want to learn. So, just like no two students would have the same fingerprints, no two students at the university will have the same study plans. So it could be two students coming from the same school, doing the same major with us, may have a completely different study plan. That's the structure side of it. So far as engagement is concerned, we are known for our rigor in teaching and learning. So students at Ahmedabad University have to really make a lot of effort, not only to get the degree, but also to get good grades. So we follow a continuous evaluation system, both in letter and spirit. Our end semester evaluation is 40% or less, meaning 60% or more of evaluation gets over during the semester. So for every hour of class, they are expected to put in at least 2 hours outside of the classroom. That's the kind of engagement we drive. So it could be in form of pre-reads, it could be in form of submissions, presentations, field visits, research that they have to do for their capstone projects and UG thesis. So we are very demanding, and I think now the students have started liking and appreciating it. So, in a nutshell, we are having international level of education pegged with Indian context.
That's very well said, sir. On the next note, my next question would be that how does the curriculum of Ahmedabad University ensure the best practices of the industry?
See, as I told you that we are very different, and we are known for two things so far as education is concerned. One is the liberal design, and other is the interdisciplinarity. So when I say liberal design, see, when I was 17 years old, I knew nothing. Partly because of the access to information, availability of information, and the way institutions were structured. But when I was 19, I knew a lot of things. So what we have done is that every student at Ahmedabad University they are not admitted to a program or a major. They are admitted to the undergraduate program of the university, and they can either declare, not declare, declare and change their majors up to the end of fourth semester, and yet finish the program in a standard study plan of 8 semesters. So what it has done is that it gives the power to the students to come into the university without being forced to zero down on a major. Within the first 2 years, explore their interests, validate them, develop a conviction, and then freeze a major. And it is all seamless. It's like as enabling as changing from one service provider to another. And there is a phenomenal amount of academic advising. Every student has got a mentor. So the idea is that when they come into our system, they should zero down on 1 or 2 or 3 majors out of the 22 majors that we offer. Take courses in 1 or 2 or 3 majors that they are kind of looking at. Meet the faculty members, do an internship, participate in activities related to that major, and then make an informed choice. So that's how we are, we have kind of woven liberal design of education into our system. Second is the interdisciplinarity. Our philosophy is that no problem is unidisciplinary. So all
Right.
problems are multidisciplinary, and therefore they need interdisciplinary solutions. If you just look at the ongoing pandemic, before 4-5 months, India was going through a ventilator challenge. Now, if you look at ventilator, you need a life scientist, you need a material scientist, you need a supply chain expert, you need a cost accountant, you need a behavioral expert, and you have to pack them all in one team, and then only they'll be able to solve this ventilator challenge for a country as large as India. Now, just imagine that somebody who has remained in a silo and have studied a very narrow discipline will not be able to participate in solving this complex problem. So right from their undergraduate days, in fact, in the very first year, we introduced them to a common core called Foundation Program. So rather than delivering 6 domains as 6 different courses, we have designed 4 studios where students learn 6 domains. So they are team taught. So rather than teaching data science, communication, biology, behavior, material, and constitution and civilization as 6 different domains, we teach them through 4 different studios. So, for example, we have one studio on water. So it's a 1-month-long studio. And when students are doing this water studio, they are taught all the 6 domains through this one studio. And this entire studio is team taught. So 6 faculty members from the domains that I mentioned participate in teaching this studio. And I'll give you one simple example, which is very powerful. So in Water Studio, we have one activity where students, so it's like 900 students if we divide them in 15 different classrooms or classes of 60 each.
Right.
And these 60 students come from all the schools and all the majors of the university. So in one class of 60, there will be students from School of Management, there will be students from School of Engineering and Applied Sciences, and there will be students from School of Arts and Sciences. And they come together to take this water studio, where these 6 domains are delivered in an intelligent way. So Ahmedabad district has 24 wards. So these 60 students are divided in groups of 2 and 3, 24 groups. And each group goes to this ward, takes a water sample. While they take a water sample, they run a survey around demographics. That okay, how many members are there in the family? Do you get water for 24 hours? Do you get enough drinking water? If not, who goes and fetches the water? Usually it turns out to be the girl child. And then they ask what is the profession, business, what is the income. They don't force them, but most of the people give them information. Then they come back to the university, go to the chemistry lab and do a TDS testing. You and I can do a water ka TDS testing after 15 minutes of training. And they find that the TDS level is anywhere between 100 to 2000. Anything above 300 is not potable, so we can't drink that water.
Right.
And then they sit and tabulate. Tabulate that data. They enter it. They run certain statistical models, simple. Mean, median, mode, certain simple things, correlation. And just in 1.5 days, they learn so much. They learn that there is a correlation between income and TDS. Higher the income, lower is the TDS.
TDS, right.
There is a correlation between the corporator's party and the water supply. So if the corporator is from the ruling party, then the water supply is higher. If the corporator is from the opposition party, the water supply is lower. They learn that if the water supply is inadequate, the girl child has to go and fetch the water, and generally that child has to drop out of the school. So they learn demographics, they learn politics of water, they learn gender issues around water, and all that they learn, they present it to their class on day 2. So they learn communication, they learn data science, they learn biology, they learn behavior, they learn material. They know that you can't collect water in plastic, otherwise the TDS testing will be affected. So they have to take a glass bottle.
Right.
So this is the way in which we deliver introduce 6 domains in a very interesting way through a water studio. There are 3 more studios that we do. I would say that this is very, very effort intensive. Both as well as the students have to really work hard, but that is what makes us different. Going forward, I see many universities are trying to bring in interdisciplinarity. So what they do is a student of physics major will be given a choice to register for 2 courses from, say, arts, 2 courses from management, but the onus of integration is on the student. Where Ahmedabad University is different is we take the onus on us. We say it is our job to integrate the disciplines and deliver interdisciplinary education. So that's where we are different. So 2 things that makes us very different. Liberal design of education and interdisciplinary.
Perfect. Thank you for such an elaborative answer, sir. I'm sure our audience is going to find that pretty informative. So, coming to the next question, I would like to ask that what are those certain things that you would like people to know that they might not know about Ahmedabad University?
See, India's education landscape is very large. We are talking about 1,000 universities, of which 500 are either state or central public funded universities. The remaining 500 are private universities. Ahmedabad University is one of them. We are talking about 50,000 colleges under these universities. About 3 to 4 crore students enrolled in different programs. So there's a huge information overload and hence the information gap between the admission seekers and the admission givers. So I would evaluate universities a little differently than the conventional set. So there are 5 things that consider to evaluate a university. Number one is that a university in India should be a genuinely not-for-profit university. Okay, so saying that we are not-for-profit and being genuinely not-for-profit are two very different things. So we say that we are a not-for-profit university, and to substantiate that claim, we have a corpus of 982 crores, which enable us to keep our fees low and continue developing the campus and the faculty resources. So that's the first thing. Second thing is the quality of leadership. Okay, one must look at the leadership phase of the university. So if you look at our leadership, our Vice Chancellor used to be the director at IIM Bangalore prior to joining Ahmedabad University. He has a PhD from Walton, Professor Pankaj Chandra.
Right.
He sat on many important committees of the central government with regard to education. Say, Dean of the School of Management has a PhD from MIT. He was a Dean of, Professor Tirupati was a Dean of IIM Bangalore prior to joining us. He tenured at UT Austin at Texas. And he had, he has a vast experience in management education. Our Dean of Engineering is Professor Sunil Kade. He has a PhD from Stanford and has taught for several years at IIT Delhi. He's the head of mechanical engineering there, and he had mentored IIT Mody. He's the Dean of School of Engineering. If you look at the Dean of Arts and Sciences, Professor Patrick French, he's an internationally acclaimed historian and biographer. His PhD is from Edinburgh, and he was teaching at Cambridge prior to joining us. We have Professor Raghavan Rangarajan, who is our Dean of Undergraduate College. PhD is from, his undergrad is from Princeton. So he has joined Ahmedabad University to create a Princeton-like experience on the banks of River Sabarmati. So leadership is very critical to the quality at the university, and it should be backed by a great governance structure. So we have a very, very enabling governance structure, and we have highest degree of academic freedom. At number 3 is the faculty resources. If you look at our 130 faculty members, they come from all over the world. And they have PhDs from very well-regarded institutions. They have foreign exposure. Within India also, they come from great universities and institutions. The university is young, but collectively the experience of the faculty member is very high. So university is like 10 years old. It's in 11th year, but my experience in higher education is 21 years. There are many more like me.
Okay.
At number 4 is the student strength. Our students are very, very, very talented and bright and very, very diverse. They come from all strata of society. There are several students on financial aid. There are, students from all over the country. We have students from at least 24 states from India. We have students from over 100 cities. We have students from over 300 schools. So that's the kind of diversity we have in our student pool. And they make it to great institutions. The outcome lies in where they go. So every year, at least 10 students make it to the better IIMs, A, B, C, L. Another 30, 40 go to the next newer IIMs or the next 20 institutions. At least other 30, 40 students make it to well-regarded institutions all over the world. That includes, Carnegie Mellon, Caltech, Imperial College London, London Business School, King's College. They go to all kinds of Columbia's 2-year core MBA program. So that's where our students go. And because they are bright and aspirational, for very few of them, our undergrad is their terminal degree. Most of them go for further education. At number 5 is the infrastructure. Okay, so genuinely not-for-profit, leadership and governance, faculty, students, and infrastructure. if you look at most of the universities, the order is reversed. In
Right.
front of us, then they talk about student outcomes, then they talk about faculty members, then they talk about leadership, and then if forced, they would mention about the not-for-profitness. So that's how I would define that many people in the country, they do not know about what I mentioned about the university and how they should evaluate the university.
So on that note, like of all the points that we discussed, what do you feel are Ahmedabad University's greatest strengths?
Um, there are many strengths, but see, one is we have deep history and credibility of the sponsoring body. So Ahmedabad University is like 11 years old, but the sponsoring body or the trust that has founded us is Ahmedabad Education Society, and at the behest of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel and the doyens of industry in Ahmedabad. And they have to their credit institutions, setting up institutions like IIM Ahmedabad, NID, CEPT, LM College of Pharmacy, even Gujarat University, and so on and so forth. So you can say that Ahmedabad University is the youngest startup, but a very aspirational one. As I mentioned, quality and engagement at the university is really at a very high level. So we are setting a completely new bar of engagement in higher education. So that's our strength. Our students have excellent caliber because see, as much as you learn in the classroom, you learn outside the classroom also. So it's very important that the students you brush your shoulders with are aspirational, are engaged, are bright. They want to do things. They want to change the world for good. So that's our strength. And the kind of student centricity and horizontal and vertical integration within our programs is also our strength. And the last thing is that the universities founded in 21st century are usually at the outskirts. From the city center, they would be at least 30, 40, 50, 100 kilometers. But Ahmedabad University is an urban campus situated in the heart of the city. And when the campus is in the heart of the city, the life is much more rich compared to a campus located at a distance. But I would consider it as our last strength, and we'll go by what I mentioned earlier.
Great. So, in your opinion, sir, what do you feel should be Ahmedabad University's priority over the next 10 years?
See, our purpose is to it's the continuous progress of self and society. You can't have progress of society without the progress of self. So we believe that in the next 10 years, we will attract more and more meritorious people at all levels in our student pool, in our faculty pool, in our staff. And congregation of meritorious leads to better engagement, and better engagement leads to better outcomes. So
Absolutely.
everything that we do or don't will only lead to congregation of meritorious and better engagement. And we believe that if we do it right, it will definitely result in progress of self and therefore progress of society.
Right. So, without taking much of your time, I would directly like to jump to the last question, which would be that what are a few suggestions or advices that you would like to give the current youth or the aspiring students?
I would say there's no better time in the past in India's history to be an 18-year-old in 2020. We are surrounded by enormous amount of opportunities. The world is, I would say, more open and equal than ever before. If somebody has a quest for information, if somebody has a thirst for knowledge, you can't imagine a better time than this. So I would say that students must find their passion, find their purpose, try to get into a good institution, work hard, build a track record, build a body of knowledge, build a body of work, and I think sky also would not be the limit. Key is to identify the purpose, get into a good institution, get into good company, like-minded people who aspire to do more in life, who wish to work hard, who wish to change the world for better. And I think you're going to be unstoppable.
Thank you for such a motivational response, sir. This is where I'd like to conclude the interview. So thank you so much for your time, sir.
Thank you, ma'am, for having me.